right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Good morning, everybody. Jumped on here about a minute early so we can wait. We'll wait about 5 minutes for everybody to kind of tune in here. There's a countdown. I didn't even know that. All right. Let's get these. Ah, there's the alarm to go live. All right. Let's go. Oh, that didn't work. All right. Perfect. We got that out of the way. We got the tweet sent out. Now we're just going to hang around here for about 5 minutes. Let everybody roll in. And we'll take it from there. Nancy, good morning. Good morning. Oscar, good morning. Atik, good morning, my man. Alan, good morning. Alexis, good morning. Jasmine, good morning. Mr. Needham, good morning. Twino, good morning. Jen, good morning. Vic, good morning. MV, good morning. Danilo, yeah. Good morning from Canada. Let's go. Lauren, good morning. Jen, SPY and PayPal, please. Skyzen, good morning. VN, hi. Hudson, good morning. All right, getting people slowly coming in here. Exciting. Gonna wait for everyone to kind of tune in. My camera's a little blocked here, but it's fine. Don't want to mess with that too much. Rico, good morning, my man. Fiki, good morning. Preston, good morning. Watch Tech, hello from Mississauga. Juke, morning. Ramsey, good morning. Cedric, my man from Switzerland, good morning. Rico Suave, what's up, man? Looking red today? I mean, not yet. Not yet. Hey, it's afternoon here in the UK. Well, that's a blessing, isn't it? Shit. Alright, guys, gonna wait a few minutes here. We'll get it started around 8:35. Just gonna give people about 5 minutes to tune in. Once they're all tuned in, we'll get it cracking. We will get it cracking. What's bobbing? Look, the Qs is definitely outperforming the SPY in the pre-market here, so it's good to see. It's good to see. Just in case there's an attendance spot, I'm here also. We gotta work on that attendance spot, man. People really gotta start showing up for work here. Hudson, also from Mississauga. Wow. Just hanging. I finally learned how to say your name. Good morning, my man. The fake MJ, good morning. Buffalo, good morning. Nancy, everyone smash the like button. Yes, everyone, if you guys are here, I would appreciate it if you guys go ahead and smash that like button right now. It would be awesome. Alright guys, 2 more minutes. We'll wait for people to kind of tune in here. And we'll get started. Gonna bring the heat. Good morning, ready to learn. Awesome, awesome, Sammy. Kendrick is wondering about F. Alright, so we'll do a little bit of SPY analysis. We'll talk about the free alerts And then you guys can spam me with your tickers, and we'll go from there. But first and foremost, I got to get through some of the things that I need to say in regards to the market. All right, so it's 8:34. We got about 20 seconds here, and we'll get started. Let's just get into it right now. All right, guys. So I think I can't say, you guys were caught off guard, because you shouldn't have been caught off guard, right? We had a move from, the lows here, a constant straight move up into the 470.65. All right. Now, again, if you guys follow the newsletter, last week I mentioned us being super extended. And then 2 weeks ago I mentioned us being super extended. And then last week when we put this spinning top in, I said, okay, guys, now I gave you an example of what a spinning top is. We could see some sort of a pullback. All right. Now, we did see that pullback in the last 3 days, last 3 consecutive red days. We might see a bounce day here. But ultimately, what we're looking for, guys, here is, the pull into this 20 moving average on the daily on the SPY is very normal. But us being so super extended and we're having to come back and test this area, it just makes it seem like the world is coming to an end, okay? But it's not. So let me show you guys again. I did this last week, but I'll show you guys again. Every time the market pulls away from the moving averages, we pop right back into it. Every time we pull away from the moving averages, we pop right back into it, pull away from it, come to it, pull away from it, come to it. It's like clockwork. It's the way the market cycles. You have people that are constantly buying, prices are going up, and people are going to want to take profits. When that happens, the market kind of pulls back as a whole, and there's always some sort of a catalyst that gets put out there for you guys to, either bring liquidity to the market, whatever the case may be. But these pullbacks are very healthy, and they continue to happen. All right. So whether it's the pullback into the 20 or whether it's the pullback into the 50 moving average, it happens all the time. It's been happening, and it's very healthy for the market to do this. Now, if you guys are, if you have multiple overnight positions, or if you're constantly just buying stocks and expecting things to go up and not really aware of this or unaware of your stops before going into the trade, you guys are going to have a hard time. All right. I always stress this. Before you enter any position, you need to know what your max loss is going to be, and not focus on what your profit margin is going to be, what your profit target is going to be. Because at any point, we could pull back. We could have pulled back here, but we can't stop taking trades simply out of fear, right? Are we extended here? Yes. Are we extended here? Yes. Are we extended here? Yes. So if you didn't take any swing trades here, or if you didn't take any swing trades here, you were missing opportunities simply because you were waiting for the pullback. And I can tell you that once we hit a support in the SPY, we can get such an elastic band to the upside that, again, you're going to think, oh my God, we're extended. So take your risks and make sure you define your risk. You understand where you're going to get stopped out, and you should be okay with taking that L when the time comes, okay? Always know your downside risk. Make sure you have a good area of support to put your stops at, and when that happens, you guys are going to ultimately part ways with your trades and take your stop loss, or you wait for the target. But don't be afraid of putting on positions when we're a little bit super extended, but understand where we are as a whole as well, and always respect your stops, okay? So that's in regards to that. But let's take a look at SPY a little bit more closely here, okay? So I'm gonna put my levels back on here. Gonna zoom into the 15-minute. All right, so let's discuss this. We had this sorry, give me 1 second, let me pull up the chart here. Yeah. All right, so we had this 466 level that was acting as pretty good support up until yesterday. Okay, yesterday we pulled below it, tried to stay above it, and we failed, and we kind of rolled over pretty heavily with the VIX spiking, and then we hit this 462 level. So this is a level prior to yesterday I had drawn on my charts. Okay, always have your levels drawn. Once one level breaks, the chances of going to the next one is very likely. Once that level breaks, the chances of going to the next one is very likely. Okay. Now these are 15-minute candles. So once this level broke, in the next 15 minutes, we nicked this 464, popped back up into this area of resistance, and sold right back off. All right, so what's the game plan today? Today, I really want to see us get above this 466.70. Okay, if we can push above, the Qs is moving, but the SPY is struggling here. So something to note, might be a day where tech is going to bounce today. But in regards to the SPY, we need to get it back above this 466 and hold, 466.70 and hold. If we could do that, we have some resistance here at we want this, the 467 area, 467.60, which is right here of yesterday. And then over that, we really have nothing really stopping us from getting to this 470, 471 area. Okay, so first and foremost, we need to get above 466 to even have the ability to fill this little pocket on the upside. Fail to hold these two levels, we're looking to fall back into the 462 and ultimately the 460. Okay, so have these levels on your chart. If you guys are in the Discord, the levels are already typed out for you guys. You guys can take a look at it. Now, in regards to the Qs, all right, let's start back with the daily, see what happened. All right, so same thing with the daily. We had a aggressive push coming into an area of Fibonacci resistance, right? We talked about this in my past video as well, and we're kind of pulling back, right? So now let's take a closer look. Let's put our levels back on. Perfect. And this was the level that I was monitoring to get back above on the Qs. Just like we were looking at the SPY to get above those levels, this is the level I'm looking at for the Qs. If we can open and maintain above this 392, we could see a push to 393 and ultimately this area right here, which should see some resistance. Now, this move can happen to coming up to this 394.60 area. Where it gets interesting is if we can really clear this and start pushing this 396 level, then it starts getting interesting. All right. However, if we struggle here again, we could roll over. Ultimately, our next support is 389, and below that, pretty big pocket here at the 383. All right. So it's all a levels game, guys. Once you understand these levels, you'll be more aware of, you know, what to be careful of, especially if you're day trading. You know, if big pockets start breaking, then you understand that, hey, you know, we're gonna see a nice pull. So yesterday when we broke this 465 level, the next pull was gonna be 464, and once that broke, we were straight coming down to 462, and we did exactly just that to a T. And these levels were drawn way before market opens. If you take the notes that I wrote, these are the levels that I mentioned in the pre-market. All right, so it's a levels game. The more you understand your levels, the better it will be for you. All right, so let's go over the alerts and why I have them on there. PayPal being the first one, obviously a big massive sell-off here on PayPal. Looking for this break of this 207, sorry, the 208 right here, right? The 208 level will be a level of yesterday's high. If we can break over that, we do have a nice little pocket here on the upside that we can start to fill, right? This area right here. We could see this push right up into this 212 area and then possibly see some rejection over there, okay? Now, if we lose the 205, which happens to be this little support that we have here in the pre-market, we could see a nice flush down to this area of the 203, possibly to the 200 area. Okay, so that's the kind of levels that I'm watching on PayPal and the reasoning behind that. Airbnb, so we're looking for Airbnb over 195 here. Over 195, again, similar story. We see clear resistance right here at the 195. If we can break over this 195 level, we could see a push right back up, right? So we have this level of resistance right here in 195. We break that, we have this little pocket up top that we can try to kind of fill in, right? So we have the opportunity to move higher. Now, again, if we break the 192.30, which happens to be the support here in the pre-market yesterday and the after hours yesterday and pre-market today, we do have the opportunity to pull into this area and possibly this area down here. All right, so you got Qs pushing, you got AMD pushing, you got Nvidia pushing. So again, might be a day where the tech sector might do a little bit better than the overall market. Next one on the list is JD. JD, want this over the 8150 level pre-market high here. If we can push, we got opportunity to kind of fill this gap at the top side. However, if we get back under this 80 level, we could see a fall to try to fill this gap at the 78 level. All right, so that's what we're looking at here on JD. Yeah, so I think we covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover in the morning. I want to give you guys the opportunity to ask me a few questions in regards to the tickers that you guys are watching. So I'm going to go through the chat. If you guys have any questions in regards to the tickers you want to watch, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I'll look at them right now and start getting involved in that. All right, so let's start with F. Somebody asked me about F. Let's take a look at what F is doing in the pre-market. All right, so as far as the swing trade goes on F, I don't see any specific pattern on it. If you guys are looking to day trade F, you would really have to wait for a push over the 1980 level, maybe the 1975, or ideally, if it breaks 1950, I think it sees a nice flush down to the 19 level. All right, but as far as a swing trade goes, I don't really see much in it. It's far too extended from the moving averages, and I don't see a specific pattern on it. You posted a video about rising wedge on SPY. Can you explain the difference between a rising wedge and an ascending triangle in simple words? I think an ascending triangle and a rising wedge are pretty much very similar. I think they're called different things, but ultimately what you're looking for is a push down and a pullback or a move back into resistance on lower volume, and then the break of that wedge or ascending triangle is when you're trying to take that pattern. Now, however, the ascending wedge, sometimes if you're looking at it in an uptrend and it starts forming an ascending wedge, that could show exhaustion. Okay, so that's the difference there. Are you in a downtrend or are you in an uptrend? The pattern itself can look very similar, but what you need to pay attention to is which direction that pattern is being put into. Is that the spot of the screen? All right, let's see. Tickers are smashing in here. All right, good morning. It's gone off guard. Hi, good morning, good morning. This guy is a legend. Thank you. NVIDIA. So let's take a look at NVIDIA. All right, a few people asked me yesterday, can I start a long term on NVIDIA? So you got to ask yourself again, if you're so fully extended here on NVIDIA, do you want to start a position and your first average is going to be 323? No, you're going to want to see a pullback. You're going to want to see a pullback to start your long term positions, because at the end of the day, it's a cost average game when it comes to your long term. Let's take a look at the 15-minute on NVIDIA here. If we can get back over the 306 level, we could see a nice push with the market, possibly back to the 317, and that's what you should look for on the intraday level. Now, overall, do I think, is this ready for a swing? Is it going to be something that you can watch on the long side? I think it needs to do more consolidation. It's got a nice aggressive push up, but it needs to form some sort of a pattern, whether that pattern is, some sort of a falling wedge into the moving average, like that. If we do something like that, then great. That's a good area to kind of swing trade this. However, we need to pull back more, consolidate a bit more for me to consider this on the long side as far as a swing goes. All right, let's take a look at SoFi. So SoFi, I believe, had earnings today. Let's take a look at the 15-minute. So lots of resistance here on these levels. Okay, SoFi, to me, it needs to clear at least 24.50 for me to be interested in it. On the long term or the short term, I'm not interested in this thing. You do have some resistance here at 25. So even if you get close to the 24.50 level, you're going to be fighting the 25 level. All right, so not something I'm interested in. Lots of retail traders in this name. It's not going to be an easy ride on this one. BLNK. Let's take a look at BLNK. So BLNK, again, you get this massive push and a total sell-off following it. Not interested in this name at all. If you're in this, not sure what your outlook is. There's obviously no swing trade in this. The chart doesn't have any sort of pattern. If you want to day trade it, you can possibly wait for the break of the 32.70 for puts, or over the 34 for calls. Again, if you get over 34, you're looking at 34.60 resistance. Not much range in it for me as far as BLNK goes. Jumaya. Let's take a look at Jumaya on the daily. It's forming very nice support here at this $18, $17 level. Again, not something I would short-term trade this. I do have this on my long term. I would possibly start a long-term position only if you've done your financial research on the company. I expect what they do, what they've been doing, etc. Other than that, not much here on the short term. If it does get back above, I don't know, if it get back above this maybe 21 level, possibly we can see a push back up to the 24, but it really needs to get back above the 21 in order for it to move anywhere here. All right, let's take a look at the next one. PFE, strong move on Pfizer here. Lots of room on the upside. Definitely we'll be watching this today to see if we can get back above this 49.30 level. If we can, then we're looking for a push into that 50 level on Pfizer. So the daily has room. Nice close yesterday despite the weak market. Has a nice area to kind of push up. Tesla. So big sell-off on Tesla, getting a little bit of a sympathy bounce here, and in the pre-market it's already up like $30. The easy trade would be here, since we had this big sell-off, we do have a little bit of a pocket that we can kind of get into, but you would have to really clear that 1120, 1130 level in order to push back up into that 1170. Okay, really need to clear 1130, and over 1130 you got room to the 1170 on the day trade aspect. On the swing trade aspect, I don't think it's ready. It needs more time to give us some sort of a level to monitor for a reversal or further downside. Let's take a look at Uber. Again, not a pretty chart, right? We had this big push up, we hit some sort of resistance and just been stuck here. Not interested at all. In fact, I would be watching Uber and setting alerts right here at around this level of the 4230 level, because if we break that, we got a nice little area that we could kind of fall into here, right? At least right to here. So we'll be watching this one on the downside, not swing trading this. I'll just set alerts for that 4230 level and see where it kind of comes up to. Roblox, after a monstrous push after earnings, it kind of gave everything back up here. All right, if we can get back over the $100 level, if we can get back over that 100 level, we could see a push to the 103. But again, in the swing trading aspect, I don't see anything in it because there's no specific pattern. For day trade, we would need to get over 100 to push to that 103.80 level. We'll monitor it as well, because if we crack this 94, we could see a flush down as well. There is a big pocket here now on the daily as well, so keep that in mind, especially if we start coming close to that 93 level, then if we decide to break that. Bob was pushing. Is JD already running? There it goes. JD just cracked. So at this point, we kind of have to wait for the open to see how it does. But re-triggers are still valid there on that one. All right. Where is the best to learn levels? I'll make a video on putting levels on YouTube. You guys can watch that, but a simple YouTube search will help you guys out as well. UPST. UPST, same thing, big push down here. Don't see much on it on the daily. There is a big hollow pocket here now to fill. If we get back over the 271, we could try to fill that pocket on UPST. BYND is just going to hell here. They had earnings and just total collapse here. So there's some support at the 72 level. Interesting to see what this does. I think if we get back over the 80 level, we could see for it to try to gap fill, possibly to the 84. It's not going to fully gap fill, just based on what the company did and what the earnings report was. Maybe a short covering up to their 84 level, but then it will probably lose some steam or momentum here on the upside and kind of roll over. Obviously, again, not something I want to try to catch a falling knife on, and not something that I'm interested in on the long-term side. So we talked about Shmaya, I think we talked about Uber as well. FCell. FCell is another name filled with retail traders. I mean, it's not that it's bad, retail traders, don't get me wrong. It's just it's very volatile and doesn't really follow much rules, I should say. Again, not interested in FCell unless it gets back above this high right here of 1120. and then you can possibly look for a move to the 1260 level. But until then, it's still below the 200 moving average. It could very easily roll over here. I'm not really interested. If the daily chart doesn't show me much room, I'm not interested in day trading it at all. What videos are best to start looking at options? I think the webinars we have is a good start. But then after that, if you're looking at to do like very difficult spreads or butterflies or things like that, then you really want to have to do some digging on YouTube to try to understand it. But I would say definitely start with the basics for now. BA, where are we sitting at in the pre-market? Getting some little news pop here. Not sure what the news is. Daily wise, I don't see anything in here. You know, obviously this is something that is a reopening name, something that's based, people are buying this in hopes for the reopening, and I agree with that. If people are buying this, it's got to be a little bit of a long-term play here. BA should see 258 and higher here once the world goes back to normal, but in the midterm or in the short term, I don't really see anything specific in BA here. Can you go over BABA? BABA is a very choppy chart. Not interested in BABA at all unless it's long term. If it's long term, you can, by all means, you can start a small position here. But in the short term, I'm not interested. Every day there's some sort of a gap that takes place on these Chinese names. The only thing I suggest is start cost averaging on these Chinese names, especially BABA, because they're gonna end up moving higher. Fubo. So Fubo, we had a pretty good swing on this one, but earnings came out and this thing just plummeted. Back under that 25 level, you could see this very easily come down to this 23. Okay, so be careful with that. Big selling volume yesterday after the earnings report. We do have room to really come down to that 23 level on Fubo. PLTR. Guys, if you're here, go ahead and smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. PLTR, we talked about this, right? I've made a video about this, and people who are in the room, I told them multiple times, do not start a position at 24. If anything, you can wait for the 23 support. And yesterday, we penetrated that support as well. So where could we go from here? We technically have room to come down to the 2150 or even the 21, and lastly, the 2050. All right, so again, not something in the short term that I want to try catching a bottom on. However, on the long term, you could start at cost averaging down to this 2150 area, to this 22 area. You can add at the 20 level, and lastly have ammunition to add at the 17, right? And then you can cost average. Apple, let's take a look at Apple. Apple, I was really waiting for this push above this 153. It's showing some weakness here, of course, with the overall market. Again, there's nothing really in this one for me to trade in the short term, and nothing in there for me to try to swing this. So we'll be staying away from Apple for now until it forms a better pattern. Roblox, we talked about. CPNG. This is another one that's tough because lots of people are buried in this. So be careful with this. It's kind of pulling into this moving average. If it pops back over 30, it could see a nice push to that 31 level. Simply because we have we have a pullback here. Right? If we break over this 31 level, we could see a pop to the if we break over the 30 level, we could see a pop to 31. But earnings is tomorrow, so I would be very cautious with that. All right. INTC. So INTC pretty much filled that gap, right? We hit this resistance area right here. Whoa, what happened there? We hit this resistance area right here, and we started pulling back. Now, if we can't reclaim this 51 level, we could very easily try to fall back into this 49. Okay, so you need to keep an eye open for that. It's doing a good job right now pushing up with the market, but needs to stay above that 50-50 level in order for it to continue to get up there. All right, this is not something you would marry after such a big gap down. You would kind of have to take profits if you're trading this on the short term. If you're in this for the long term and you caught the bottom here, congratulations, great. It would have been perfect. Now, talking about spinning tops or spinning bottoms, here's a great example here on this pattern right here. We had it in the market a few days ago, and we had it on Intel right here on this day. Plug, we talked about Disney. Disney earnings came out today, so if you're trading this, understand that premiums are inflated. I don't have any support on this until the 160. I think we do get a pull down to that 160.50 level before anything. Have we looked at Lucid? We have not looked at Lucid. Let's take a look at Lucid. So Lucid, nice push up, very aggressive push up here into this resistance area that I had, which was pretty much a daily fib level. Short, I guess swing trade, I'm not interested. Really need this back above the 44, 45 level for me to even be interested in this, right? But other than that, we're going to be fighting resistance on the way up. Not looking to kind of trade this one. If you are, wait for the 45, then you have a nice pocket to the 47 area to trade. Pfizer we talked about, and it is 9. All right, guys, thank you guys all for tuning in. Again, if you guys did appreciate this, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button. I do tune in here every Thursday at 8:30. Some days we talk about specific topics, and some other days we just talk about the market analysis and the free alerts. All right, appreciate you guys all for tuning in. I got to get back into the Discord, so I will see you guys later. And this live will be recorded. You can watch it on YouTube at a later time. All right, guys, love you all.